Yes, as I indicated.
Yep.
Yes, we should start the meeting.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Before we start our session tonight, I'd like to say that I apologize that I was unable to attend the opening ceremonies 2 weeks ago in reference to the Leadership Academy. It's very dear to me, and what precluded me from attending was our fiscal crisis turned into an economic crisis globally, and so I was unable to attend. But I know it went well, and I think all of you will support the Leadership Academy because it is a very worthwhile endeavor. Now I'd like to move on to the action items. If we'll take a look at the minutes, we've had, whoops, yeah, that's all we have. We're looking at the minutes of June 2nd, and I'll ask for a motion to approve them. So moved. Okay. I need a second at this point.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'd like to ask Vice Chancellor Moore to present his report on information items 11A through D, or 2A through D. Okay. Vice Chancellor Moore.
I mentioned this earlier this morning when I addressed the presidents of the university. I'm very saddened to report that our trustee, Frida Foster Talbert, lost her husband, Terrence, last night. He had a massive heart attack while he was working on behalf of the Obama campaign in the state of Nevada, and we were really shocked to get that news early this morning. And since Frida is a valued member of this committee and cares deeply about the student affairs programs, I thought it was important for those of you who didn't know this news to be told of it. And there will be a memorial service and a funeral that has been scheduled for next Monday, and a showing on Sunday of this week. So,
Thank you very
sorry
much.
to report that sad news.
I know.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'd like to move through a number of reports that we'll move through quickly. First, I'd like to report on, give you an update on our mental health counseling initiative. I'm really pleased to say and report to you that this initiative is moving forward, that we are deeply engaged now in an effort to bring to Cuny a what I call the world-class counseling model for our system. A model that will be uniquely designed for each campus, but yet one that is supported from the system level and is embraced by all of the participants. Currently, we are engaged with our chief student affairs officers, our counselors, as well as the faculty and staff members regarding their input into this counseling model. We met this morning with an advisory group of counselors and staff members to begin the process of a self-study. On this Thursday, we will meet with a group of staff members, vice presidents, faculty, students, to kick off the self-study process. We expect to have about 80 or 90 individuals involved in this process. We're very excited to have on board with us a consulting group called Killings & Associates, who is helping us to design this model, and they are the ones who will walk us through the self-study process. We are appreciative and of the support that we're getting from the chancellor and the chancellery in terms of financial support. Last year at a retreat with the counselors, they shared with us a number of concerns they had in terms of adding staff and other resources to their counseling centers in order to improve counseling for our students. The chancellor responded with some resources. Those resources have been distributed to the campuses based on their proposals that were presented to us. They are now using those resources to help kickstart a more functional counseling operation. So we're really, really happy that we're moving forward and that everything is on schedule. We recognize that the counseling needs of our institution is growing all the time. The more students we get, the more need we have for counseling services or mental health counseling services. We are very, very much on target in terms of meeting the needs of our students, and we believe that when it's all said and done, we expect to have our self-study report completed by January. We're really jumping into it, moving very quickly. We expect to have the self-study completed by January, and we expect to have a plan in place by the end of the academic year. I don't have copies for you, but I certainly will get copies for you of the work plan that has already been laid out by our work group. And this plan is designed with a timeline that embraces personal counseling, health services, student health insurance, SEEK counseling, and just the overall health services of our institutions. So we believe this is going to be a very comprehensive study and will yield a world-class model for Cuny. So we're really excited about that. We expect to give you regular updates in terms of how this is moving forward. We have engaged the services and input of all of our campuses, and we're very excited about moving this forward. Any questions about this? Yes, ma'am. She pre-warned me she was going to have a question.
I've got 1.5 million, but I'll hold some for another time. First question, this is the same mental health counseling direction you showed us the film about last spring, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
All right, so when we discussed this last spring, we agreed that SEEK wasn't part of mental health counseling, didn't we? I asked that question, and you said you agreed that we weren't that kind of mental health counseling.
That is correct. That is correct. And we're not. And let me clarify that. I'm not embracing SEEK as a mental health counselor, but because they have a counseling component to it, and this service doesn't cost SEEK anything. It's already in place. We asked Cheryl to be part of this study so that this information could also be used for the SEEK students as well. But we're not looking at SEEK as a mental health
counseling.
No.
All right.
Thank you. No, we're not.
All right, because we did discuss that before.
We did.
We
That's
do
correct.
something. We don't want to model where our students are treated as though they
Absolutely.
have mental health
That is correct.
issues.
That is correct.
In terms of the steering committee, I would like to ask that the Senate Student Affairs Committee be represented on that committee, since we have a committee on student affairs and they're very interested and want to be involved. And I chair that committee, not chair that committee, but as the liaison to that committee. I also would like to ask who from Opportunity Programs is represented on that steering committee.
Cheryl Williams is on there.
Okay.
But if you're volunteering to serve on it, we'll be happy to have you as well.
I'll think about that, but
Okay.
but I
Or if you
certainly
have a
would,
recommendation.
I would certainly like to see the UFS represented as well. Thank you. I won't bother you with any more.
I would have said that if she had not.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Okay, thank you. I would like to also move to item number B, which is the CUNY Leadership Academy. And I have with us Dr. JoJo McManus, who's our Executive Leadership Academy Director, to give a brief report on that.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to be sure that I thank the board members who were in attendance for our opening ceremony. The co-chair of the board, Trustee Berry, spoke. Of course, Chancellor Goldstein was our keynote speaker. And I also like to thank Senior Vice Chancellor Hershenson for speaking as well. And of course, our leader in Student Affairs, Vice Chancellor Gary Moore. And also the Macaulay Honors College for being the host. Trustee Foster Tolbert was also in attendance and was, very supportive, and I'm very saddened to hear about her husband. President Morales from CSI was there. Executive Vice Chancellor Dobrin and Vice Chancellor Malave, and a host of others were in attendance, and we're just very appreciative of the extraordinary support from CUNY and from this committee in particular. I've been asked to give a very brief report on the Academy, and I have 4 bullet points. The first being about the Leadership Development Council, which is a group that we brought together from across the CUNY colleges, representatives from every campus that are either doing leadership development on their campus as faculty, as student affairs staff, or in development of doing leadership development programs. And the purpose of that is to increase communication, cooperation, and collaboration between the campuses, and also to inform the Academy and to work with us on curriculum development and program development. The second piece that I wanted to mention is there's a lot of discussion about the Academy and how we're going to reach out to all the campuses and all the students. We want to make it really clear that our primary purpose is as a resource to the campuses and providing services that will be open to all CUNY students. The way that we're doing that, we have multiple layers to our approach. The first layer being working with the campuses to develop co-curricular modules for the freshman seminars and new student orientations and special programs like that. We're also on the next level working to incubate leadership programs that on campuses that don't have a leadership program at this point, and helping to enhance those programs that on the campuses that do have them, and also to connect them again through the Leadership Development Council. We're also working with the folks that are teaching courses, and whether they be a standalone course or if they're a part of a minor or a major in leadership, whether that be educational leadership development or business leadership, depending on the college, but trying to bring them in and so that this is truly a co-curricular approach. The next would be the CUNY-wide programs and professional development that we're doing for students. So for example, we have the CUNY Ambassadors Program, which you may have known as the Student Investment Ambassadors Program last year. The idea is that this is a series that we work with students, and this is open to all students that are interested to work on their political acumen and to help them to become better advocates over issues that they're concerned about. And that's added to conferences that have existed for a good amount of time, some as long as 20 years. Emerging Leaders Conference, the New Leadership Challenge. There's a couple of conferences that have gone on that are at a particular college, but that are CUNY-wide, and we co-sponsor that. The most well-known at this point is our signature program, which is the group of students that we presented at the ceremony and reception. This program is what we're trying to do is take advantage of the unique nature of CUNY, and that we have all of our campuses in such close proximity to one another, so that we can actually offer a layer that is really unparalleled in leadership development. So since we have all these great programs on the campuses, to then take the graduates of those programs and students that have demonstrated leadership and offer them a level above that, and an opportunity to connect with their peers from across other campuses. So this year we chose 28 students for the inaugural cohort. And we're very representative of the university as a whole, as much as we possibly could be. We represent 15 colleges, including 10 senior colleges, 4 of the community colleges, and the Macaulay Honors College. There are 20 majors represented. Their experience is really state-of-the-art leadership development. We're very proud of it. And we really feel like that it's a real demonstration of the inclusive excellence that I know is a big part of Cuny. And then the last bullet is the Co-Curricular Transcript project. So we're at the stage where we're making final decisions about the vendor, and we're working with procurement and IT, and hopefully in the spring we'll be able to begin training for the web-based project on co-curricular transcripts. And the nice thing about it is that it's beyond, it does include the co-curricular transcripts, so students will be able to get a real transcript on all of their co-curricular activities. But the way that we're doing this, it also includes an opportunity for students to connect online through social networking, so they can connect specifically around issues that they care about. So that's an added bonus of doing this as a web-based module. So that concludes my report.
I've got a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
The co-curricular transcripts, are these credit-bearing courses, or is it non-credit-bearing? How does this?
Activities.
No, it's just co-curricular activities that are
Activities?
documented.
Okay, that's two questions.
Yes,
Okay.
It's meant to primarily to have a way for students to have an official transcript of their leadership experience and their co-curricular activities, both at CUNY, and it can also be done for in the community. So if we have students that have done some significant community service, developed a tutoring program at a community center, we can verify that and put it on their official transcript. You know.
So these are non-credit items that
Yes.
appear on the
That is
transcript?
correct.
Yes.
That's correct. And these, the curricular developments that you're doing then are also non-credit?
This year, yes. We're working actually with the School of Professional Studies to turn the signature program seminar series into a for-credit course.
I see.
But that's still in development at this point.
I see. Thank you.
Kingsborough Community College has been out front with the co-curricular transcript and has been doing this for some time. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I really look forward to the co-curricular transcripts. My students have been informally compiling these things in their portfolios that we do, and I would love to see them regularized. I was wondering, when you get a draft, or when you decide on a vendor, could we have a preview of the format of the materials and give some input into what these co-curricular transcripts?
We could set up a demo.
I would very much like to see it. I find it very exciting and a very good thing. What?
And long awaited.
Long awaited. I mean, I've talked to my students about it now for the past 2 years as a coming attraction, and they're quite excited about it. They see it as interrelated to the portfolios I have them do each year, so it's really a good thing, and I'd like to continue.
It will happen this year.
But
Please
Okay.
continue.
Next, Chris Rosa, Dr. Chris Rosa is our certifying official for the USS election, and I just want him to give you an update on that, please. Chris.
Sure. Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Good evening, everyone. I promise I'll be brief. Thankfully, the University Student Senate elections went rather seamlessly. They completed their process in a record time, which we were all grateful for on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Simone Lamont from York College has been elected chair, and we have high hopes that this will be a process of renewal, and that she's committed to sort of shaking off the coils of the past and looking forward to us in partnership in building strong student affairs programs together. And so we're very hopeful. Charmaine Worthy, who's the university's acting coordinator of student activities, has been working with her closely to mentor her as a new leader, and has been working with other members of the USS Executive Committee. So we're very optimistic. Vice Chancellor Moore brought Simone Lamont and the University Student Senate's Vice Chair for Fiscal Affairs in to meet with members of the General Counsel's Office and the University Budget Office to talk a little bit about the preliminary findings of the audit that we've done at USS. And it was more of an educative process, very developmental, and it talked about the importance of sound fiscal approach to managing their affairs. And also, we discussed the important things like hiring and their role as leaders in the university community. And we felt as though it was well received. So we're looking forward to helping them to develop their own agenda in accordance with their own priorities. But so far, it's been a good start.
Great. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor.
And finally, but not least, we have Mr. Wilfred Cotto, who's our Veterans Affairs Director. Wilfred is a retired Navy officer and has come to Cuny some months, almost a year now?
Year and a half.
Year and a half now, and has done just a wonderful job of embracing our veterans and making them feel at home. Earlier today, Wilfred, Chris, and I served on a panel, a national tech talk show, wherein we talked about the Higher Education Act, the reauthorization of the Higher Education Act, and its impact on our students. And one of the areas of most concern was the veterans, and we were happy to report that we're doing some wonderful things here at CUNY, and that we're really out front. In fact, in the short time Wilfred has been here, he is sought after to present at national conferences, and wherever he goes, he talks about CUNY, of course. So, Wilfred, if you take just a brief moment and just give us an update, please.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. Good evening, Chancellor. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. And yes, I'm here to tell you that, yes, we are leading the way in this effort, and I'm happy to report this. And just a few things that I want to highlight in our efforts to outreach, recruit, retain, and provide programs and services for returning veterans as we get ready to actually encounter more of them as they get back from the war effort. Throughout our campuses, we're doing a number of things. And just recently, last month, we had our second CUNY College Fair for Veterans at the Borough of Manhattan Community College. It was extremely well attended, over 140 participants. We had a panel discussion with many of our student veterans themselves, and the event was even covered by WABC TV, and it will air during the Veterans Day week, hopefully next week. In conjunction and collaboration with OAS and Dean Tatchett and Director Richard Alvarez, this summer in August, we started information sessions for veterans. We conduct them twice a month, the first and second Wednesdays of each month, and so far we've seen anywhere from 8 to 22 new prospective student veterans come to the sessions to gain information on our programs here at CUNY. We have now a website that's online, a searchable website in accordance with the Reauthorization of Higher Education Act. It's a virtual one-stop source which provides financial aid, admissions, benefits, and entitlement information, and also programs and services to prospective students. And we're very proud of that, and it's up and running and fully searchable. At the moment, we have 12 campuses that have projects, active student veteran projects this year, funded by Central Office of Student Affairs. We have 4 of them that are under the PROVE model, the Project for Return and Opportunities in Veterans Education, at Hunter College, John Jay, Queens College, and Borough of Manhattan Community College. We also have another 8 projects that have student veteran mentors hired to provide assistance to prospective students and current students. And they're located at Lehman, College of Staten Island, Queensborough, Kingsborough, Ostos, BMCC, City Tech, and City College. And the idea here is to provide transition and readjustment services to these returning veterans, both social, emotional, physical, and psychological kind of services also involved there. We're getting ready to hold our second annual Student Veteran Conference at John Jay College in February of 2009. And like Vice Chancellor just said, I was recently at a conference in Virginia Beach last week where I presented in best practices and outreach and coordination of student veteran programs and services on behalf of the City University of New York. And we're proud to say that we're also going to be represented next week at the Veterans Day Parade, and you're all welcome to come out and join us. We'll have a float and we'll march up Fifth Avenue proudly. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, Madam Chairman, that concludes my report. I just want to acknowledge Marie Ting, who is here. This is her last meeting with us. Marie is moving back to Michigan, and we will miss you, Marie. We want to thank you for all the work you've done for us. She got married a year ago, in case y'all didn't know. Okay, yes, ma'am.
You want to go first, ma'am?
You go ahead.
In terms of the veteran services, I think it's wonderful. It's certainly timely, given yesterday's New York Times and everything else, and we were nicely mentioned. But the focus seems to be on bringing in new students. This year, we've had a great number of returning students who had left school to serve in the armed forces and are now returning to the colleges, at least Brooklyn. In the Sikh program itself, I've had 5 or 6, which is, in a small population, that's a large number of students to come back. I'd like to see something, either, I don't know whether the website addresses that, I'd like to see something out to faculty. As I remember, students are allowed credits, up to 18 credits for their service, that they're allowed to fix the grades if they left with incompletes or W's or WU's because they were called up in the middle of something. There are a whole bunch of things that returning students, and as I try to get through these mazes with these students, because we haven't had this in a long time, I wonder if there could be something for faculty and the continuing students to help us with those kids as well as the ones that are just going to enter.
Yes, in fact, we talked extensively about that today, how the Higher Ed Act now addresses very clearly what our veterans are entitled to, and we can get something out, Wilfred, I think, to the campuses on that piece regarding the higher ed.
I think a lot of the teaching faculty and the people that do advising and other things are going to need that information outside the student affairs area. So I'm asking that it be widely distributed, more widely than you might think.
And there are a lot of grants attached to this higher ed act as well that we're going to take advantage of.
That seems to be the least of their problems. But getting back into school and adapting to the curriculum that's changed since they've gone and all sorts of other things. Requirements have changed. Do they go under the old requirements? Do they go under the new requirements? There are a lot of technicalities. Do they have to sit with the WUs or can they get Ws? What happens to their tuition that they paid for the semester they were called up? There are lots. You know, as they pose these questions, we need to have answers for them, and I don't have them all.
Okay. Those things are addressed in the higher ed act.
Thank you.
How many veterans do we have now inside, among the students in Cuny? And how many do we anticipate, say, in 5 years?
Yes, sir. And I can only speak for last semester because the data for this semester we don't have yet, but last semester we had 1,700 student veterans enrolled at Cuny colleges. We anticipate that over the next few years, depending upon how quickly we draw down, we can have several thousand. So it's just a matter of time.
Question I may have here is, do you have the breakdown of what comprises part-time students with the full-time?
Yes, I do. I don't have it with me, but just off the top of my head, it's about 1,100 full-time and 600 part-time. And John Jay is the college with the most, right about 300, and then everybody falls in.
Okay.
Thank you.
Makes sense.
Are there any other questions?
No, it's very nice.
I'd also, are you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'd also like to announce that at the American Council of Community College Trustees conference that we had last week at the Marriott Marquis, that I had the opportunity to speak about the SEEK program and acknowledge that we have had 40 years of a successful program. I just wanted to put that for the record. very special students.
Yes.
If there are no questions, we is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.